Okay, I'm going to look over charts in preparation for next week. 2 points to start with. First of all, I'm looking for traders to trade with during the week, Monday to Friday. So if you are experienced and you share a similar style of trading as I have with wave analysis, candles, the type of thing that I display in the charts essentially, and you'd like to team up to share ideas during the week, let me know please, because over the next 3 months I will be concentrating intently on the charts and I'm looking to stimulate ideas during live trading sessions. So let me know if that interests you. I'm not looking to teach or um, train at the moment. So I am looking for live sharing of ideas. So just let me know if that interests you. There are lots of good ways of communicating, such as through Telegram, that it's possible to do during the week. I'm already working with two very good British traders, so any further stimulation would be useful for me. So just let me know. Second point is that with Bitcoin, I presented Bitcoin in detail in the last video, which I think was on Thursday evening. I am not going to follow or work on Bitcoin anymore. The trade was from 900 and change up through the mid 2000s. That trade is finished. Now there is a new trade setup coming to the downside for the time being, and it's to be determined still whether that is a terminal move or a corrective move into, for example, the 1700 region, which is an area I like for the bigger idea, moving to wave 4 of wave 3, for example, for larger wave 4. This type of area can work well, but that is a trade to come in the future, and I will present it in the future if I see it. But for now, I'm not going to deal with Bitcoin anymore because the trade is over. So moving on, if you want more information about the last Bitcoin trade, just see the last video on Thursday. And now let's have a look at some charts for next week. First of all, it seems like there is a fundamental change coming to the US dollar. That is the view that I'm holding at the moment. We've been in a bullish swing in the United States dollar from 2008 through 2017, the first week of. And that seems to be changing now. Larger trend changes like this that have gone on for a very long time are quite difficult to determine and to get a hold of. I cannot say it's apparent, like I cannot say it's evident and really clear at the moment, but it appears that way. It's apparent that a change has come and is underway in the trend in the United States dollar. So I'm looking at moves against the dollar now. I feel that I gave it quite a lot of leeway and quite a lot of opportunity to go higher, in the sense that I was looking for it to go higher and trying to latch onto it. That seems to not be working out, and going over, like, for example, the monthly bearish divergence on the US dollar and the overall completed price pattern here, it's looking like it's starting to keel over. Now, in a situation like this, perhaps we have a situation where it breaks as it's done, or as it's doing, I think, then consolidates, and then kind of general awareness awakens that the dollar is weak and going to weaken further. And then larger traders, more traders catch on to that and pile into it. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about at the moment. This would be like a first stage, first step of the dollar turning over, if that's correct, of course. That is how I'm viewing it right now. So now going into like practical trade opportunities, starting with, actually I should mention one more thing before I start. In terms of big ideas for like big trades to come, some have passed. Bitcoin's passed. Euro New Zealand has essentially for now passed. Aussie New Zealand from 103 to 110 has passed. Um, what I'm looking at now as the next big trade opportunity is short US Canadian, this pair in front of you. That is the one I'm looking forward to seeing descend, basically. So I don't have many other big trade ideas at the moment. I have the idea on wheat, which I've gone over before. The wheat is kind of going sideways at the moment, and those fertilizer companies associated with wheat. So between US Canadian and wheat, those are the bigger ideas at the moment. I don't have any other big ideas working on. I mean, there's one in US yen that I like the long side of, but most of May has reversed, if not entirely already. So that may vacillate, may descend, may do something else for a while. But in the near term, the big idea is the ones at hand anyway are US Canadian and wheat in terms of big moves, I think. So the past big moves worked out, the three I mentioned. Let's see if we can stick US Canadian and maybe wheat in the near term as big moves to come. So starting with US Canadian, I am looking at this now as being done in the near term. I think we have a wave 2 in here, and the descent from wave 2, I still like the idea of one more low. Let me just say one more thing. I've been over this many times already. There is a bearish, I'm not going to draw it in, but there's a bearish um, divergence situation on the weekly US Canadian time frame. And that matches what we had before as on the bullish Euro New Zealand time frame on the weekly. So I'm expecting a big move like that towards the low 124s, breaking this low, going towards this trend line around 125, 124, and probably eventually breaking through that. So this is the next big move in my opinion right now. Now on the near term, on the short term time frames, 4 hour, I would like to see one more low. But if you look at the 1 hour, there is the possibility we have a 5 up here. So we may be looking at a 5 up, and if this corrects more like this and it bases a bit, there may be a long move here, and maybe the recent low is enough. That's to be determined, but for right now, I'm just watching that on the lower time frames. But my overall count on the 4 hour, I would prefer to see one more low, because I have trouble viewing this as 5 waves overall. If you count it as 5, send it to me. I want to see it. Right now, I have trouble seeing that. I will adjust if it doesn't make another low, but that's my mindset at the moment on this. The other Canadian pairs, for example, Aussie Canadian, which I like a lot, I haven't been working on lately, so I'm just going to leave it for the time being and maybe do some work on that this week. I'll take a look at Euro Canadian, then go to the other US dollar pairs. For now, I'll bring them to the front of the line for this. Euro Canadian, it's done enough here on the daily. The idea is for a flat for wave 2. Now, it's not, the idea is an extended flat. Now we have a situation like this. I would prefer to see above this high. Sorry, expanded flat. But maybe that won't happen, like in Euro Australian dollar, which was recently bullish, still is bullish, but in any case, I put a count in this. We had a situation here where we got a 5-wave move. I was not detecting this in real time. This is all in hindsight. But in any case, for example, like if this is a kind of expanded move, it did not break this low and it truncated. So I want to keep that in mind in Euro Canadian as a possible truncation, because on the C leg of that, we do, in my opinion, have enough for 5 waves up. So it's possible it may truncate. Now from the recent high on Euro Canadian, I don't have a bearish count yet. So I am cautious on this right now. I don't have a 5-wave impulse to work with or something like that, like I had in the other pairs. So I'm stepping back from this at the moment, and I am entertaining the possibility still of some kind of gyration to move higher. The stochastics are still up in this, and for now I want to work the idea that it's either at a high or near a high, and I will watch out for that in the coming days and weeks. So going on to certain US dollar, particular US dollar pairs, Aussie US dollar, the weekly candle is looking rather bearish, and I think the move lower is still favored for now. So I'm going to say, I'm going to maintain that E of the triangle is in, and we're going to look down from here because this to me is a choppy corrective move. So I'm going to favor the downside still, and a bit lower still, and I do like the idea still that this low will be broken and then we can look for longs up from there. I don't at the time being have this idea that we're going to massively crater below 67. I do like the idea that this is an impulsive wave and that we've had a down impulse here for larger A, and that it's looking like this is some kind of 3-wave move, for example, and then one down, and then I like the idea of up because overall on the monthly, the stochastics are still hanging up here, and usually they make it to the other side towards 80. It's a kind of opposite scenario compared to US Canadian dollar. New Zealand US dollar. This has been harder. I mean, obviously this is not impulsive, but that doesn't mean it won't continue to go up. And the swing here, the bearish scenario in that is not working out. So what I can do here, I mentioned this in Thursday's video, I like the idea here now that we have a Y low. The question is if it makes one more low beneath that, because clearly this is looking like 3 here. So then may be enough, and we may be moving higher because on the other time frames, it's looking quite bullish. On weekly and monthly time frames, it's looking strong. I don't have a trade to get in, an option to get in yet. This is looking like it could be 5 and done now, and maybe we'll see a correction. I'll be watching this in the coming days. That is the best bullish scenario that I can offer at the moment for a correction, see how the correction appears, if and when it does, and then to get into that on the long side. Because the prior bearish idea that it was going to make some kind of larger pattern down here, it may still be open to that, but I have to, given my other view on the dollar and how this is looking overall into here, I would rather switch to the bullish side at the moment. We've already had a divergent play here, as you can see, between the price and the stocks. So these divergent plays tend to run and run. So if I see a kind of like correction here after a 5-wave move, that'll be a chance perhaps to get into that. I'll be watching that, and I'll make a video about it if I want to explain it to myself. Now, cable has I was running a bearish idea on cable, which has morphed a number of times, and I still like this idea. Cable, the pound lately has been showing a bit of weakness. Pound New Zealand, pound Canadian, euro pound too. Pound's been showing weakness over the last few days, a week or so. And I don't have a bullish case on this. If you have a bullish view on this, I would like to see it. I cannot figure one out. What I have on this is a bearish view still for one more low in cable. Now that may not materialize if there's real dollar weakness, but from here we have like a 1, 2, 3 triangle, 4, 5 idea. That's how I was able to work it out, and I'm looking for a move down now in cable. So some of the dollar, as I mentioned a bunch of times, a bunch of the dollar pairs are not worth trading. This, in my opinion, was not worth trading, really. I mean, there were opportunities, but, you know, obviously there were much better opportunities in Euro New Zealand, Bitcoin, Aussie New Zealand, US Canadian recently. So there are many better markets out there than these popular ones still. That's without question, in my opinion. Euro US dollar. I do like the idea now that we have a low here which is going to hold. I talked quite a bit in the past about how this pair overall is bullish so long as on the monthly time frame this low holds. This is bullish, and okay, one moment. TradingView is still correcting its layout, and this sequence here is corrective of that. So looking near term, I do like the idea that we've set a low. There is bullish divergence on this chart, just as we see bearish divergence on the DX. And on the daily time frame here, there are a number of counts. Now, my preferred account on the bearish idea is that out of the triangle, not a bearish idea in the future, but past bearish idea, out of the triangle here, this is a diagonal pattern, and there were a couple of possibilities working as leading or ending. I'm now going to view it as an ending, fifth wave, and this is done. So that's my view overall, that the diagonal here is an ending diagonal, and we're now done. And now we look forward to figuring out what is going on. Now, this could be a leading diagonal into here with a correction and now a third wave up. It could also be a number of other things, such as a 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and we have a very strong bullish sequence here. Perhaps it could also be a 1, a 2 into here, which kind of truncated, and now we're in wave 3 overall. What I would say, that's all open to interpretation. I don't have an answer to that, and really I don't have any confidence in one or the other. What I would say here is that if it maintains a corrective manner, the price over the next few days or weeks or so, I'll be looking for another move up in this. I don't favor a bearish move anymore in Euro US dollar. There's a small weekly shooting star. We'll probably see some downside move, but so long as it looks corrective, I'll be looking for higher in this pair. I would actually like, now that we've seen the change in this market and the DX is looking very weak, I would like to see the dollar actually prove that it still has some powerful legs and drive in it. The dollar now is guilty until proven innocent. I think it's bearish, and I want to see it prove me wrong, really, to prove my current bearish view against it wrong. Last I looked, sentiment in the DX, bullish sentiment coming out of the States, is a measly, if not entirely embarrassing, 9%. A very extreme bearish 9%. So does that mean everyone's to one side in the market? I don't know, probably not. Everyone is supposed to be bullish, but there seems to be no bullish sentiment. So maybe we see a situation come in that dollar buying suddenly comes in, that number spikes up, and we take it from there. I can't forecast that type of scenario, but we could also see a situation where sentiment is really low in the dollar, and that we have a kind of like a bearish crash coming on here and another steep move down. That's kind of my preferred view right now on the dollar, actually. So sentiment is really, given that it's so low, it seems strange because I figured a lot of traders were bullish on the dollar, but I'm not really sure how to interpret it right now, other than to say that the dollar seems to have made a significant break, and I would take it as broken until it shows otherwise. Okay, moving into some other pairs. Just a moment. I'm not going to look at gold until the end of the month. Okay, Euro New Zealand, the better part of the move has gone, I think, from the weekly divergence at 145 through to 162 and change. I think the better part of the move is done. Now, how to interpret it from here? I would like to view this current move down as a correction of this. As long as it holds the low here, I will prefer to view it as that, as another chance to get long. The long on Friday, the opportunity did not appear. The candle close eventually on Friday was not so, on Thursday was not so convincing. And so right now I'm looking for this low to hold here for wave, well, I would put it as wave 2 of wave 3 of wave 3. So I'm maintaining a bullish view on this, but the big chunk of the first leg of this move in any case I think is past for now, and I'll see how it develops in the next few days. Overall, I think it remains bearish because I'm still working the idea that we have another big move up overall, because this is an impressive impulse, and I'm looking for this to continue. The euro seems to have a lot of strength behind it right now. So overall, this maintains a bullish slant. Euro, Australian dollar, I put a count in this on this morning. I'm not trading this. I had some trouble with this earlier. A correct move, and then a big incorrect unseen move. So how I'm viewing this right now is I like the idea of a correction here and then another move higher, possibly to wave 4 of wave 3. I suppose a case could be made that all of the entire advance is done with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I like the idea overall that wave 3 is done. We have a correction and another move up before a bigger correction. If you look on the, first of all, in the near term, I think there's going to be a correction. The candle close on Friday is bearish, and I think we've done enough here to justify the completion of wave 3 overall. Looking at the weekly, there's nothing bearish about it, and stochastics have strongly moved above the 80 line, which is a good bullish sign. I think it looks more like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of pattern in front of us. So I'm still maintaining a bullish slant on this, like with Euro New Zealand as well. Okay, Aussie New Zealand. I talked about this on Thursday. I don't want to repeat all of that. What I would say is that Friday's down move was disappointing, quite strong. I'm still looking for a low to be made against this now overall and a move up, but I cannot deny, or rather I don't want to deny, what's in front of me, and that is not looking good for the bulls. It's looking very weak. The monthly is looking very weak. I am also keeping in mind the idea that it turns over lower. There are two possibilities here. Nothing really convincing, because I now have to take this as a 3-wave move overall. The good move in this pair was obviously from 103 to 110. I think I tracked a majority of that in these videos, and it went very well. The issue now is how to handle it from here on, because there are a couple possibilities, such as this, or this. I'm not sure how to get a grasp on it. It's looking bearish, but that can change, obviously, and I would like to maintain a bullish slant for now, judging by this impulse. So I'll stick with the bulls. I don't have a sell setup anyway, so obviously I'm going to stick with the bullish slant on it. See if I can find some type of long entry. There is no divergence appearing on the lower time frames yet, but I'll see if something happens, because I'm sticking with the bulls. Now on Euro Pound, this is looking like it wants to break out. Now, I have not had a grasp on this market since here. This was the last time I really had any type of tradable grasp on it. It's gone sideways since December. I found it kind of awkward and difficult. The failure idea did not work. out of the triangle, so that's dead. This thing overall is finished. Now what I want to say about this overall, now I've had a view for a long time about 3 or 5 into here, and I eventually switched to 5. Now it is still possible that this is really only 3 and that this is a huge correction. I don't know. I have not been confident about this, and my last idea about this failed. So looking at the weekly, maybe the monthly is actually easier. Like for example, if you take the monthly overall, so far it's been very strong in May, and it is possible to simply, very simply read this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 as one more high. My issue with this was that I found this sideways swing a bit too large for this, because I like a sense of proportion between these things. You often get, well, I find anyway, that you get less sense of proportion when you're dealing with stocks and shares than you do when you're dealing with currencies. It doesn't always work that way, but I still find this idea that this is a bit too big for this overall. So I'm not trading this. I'm not looking to trade this. I'm not really interested in this. One of the British guys I trade with has done very well in this. He found an opportunity here on a small 5-wave impulse, I think on the 1 hour time frame, and took it long. He's done very well. And my view on this is that it's all a bit unclear. I mean, if it does break this line still, it obviously has a chance to go up strongly, especially if the pound maintains a weaker stance as it has over the next week. So that's all I can say about this, actually. I don't have an idea on it still, except that it's looking strong over the last few days. Okay, so give me just a moment to see what else I can cover. I'm not going to look at pound New Zealand or pound Canadian right now. I haven't put the work in on those. I also have not put the work in on US dollar yen. I still prefer in the long term a bullish view on US dollar yen. The monthly close in April has obviously been reversed mostly, so I don't have a view on this right now. I will have to also look at that closer at another time. Gold I'll look at during the week or next week. Wheat has not, I would still like one more low in wheat, but it has not materialized. It's now going into this sideways pattern. I don't see this as bullish here, but so far little has happened over the last number of weeks. Last what? Since most of this year, nothing's happened. And it is definitely looking like it wants to base. Now, all the fertilizer companies are continuing to fall, but wheat is also, but wheat on its own is holding as such. I might have a better idea at the end of the month, but for now, I'm just going to stick with the existing idea that I would like to see one more low into the 3s on wheat. And I think it was sugar that has a possible, only possible, but possible 5-wave bullish advance through 2015. So maybe some type of, if this does slow down, I'll see if there's some entrance on wheat, but right now it's looking strong against it. I'll just wait and watch on that. It's just something to entertain as a kind of exercise. I try not, actually it's essentially that, it's essentially an exercise. But in any case, I think I'll leave it there. The best trades at the moment are still looking like US Canadian, generally the Canadian pairs for the next big opportunity, wheat and the fertilizers to some extent. If you have any other ideas about big trades coming, let me know. And I will leave it there. I wish everyone a good week coming up. All right, bye-bye.